been online for not too long here, but he's he's taken some action. This guy, he's trained inside of MLSP. The biggest one that I've seen was Facebook Live. I mean, this guy's become really just a powerhouse and creating content for his target market. And he's provided some amazing training on Facebook Live. If you're hearing my voice and you're a member or you're on the podcast, go to the marketing strategies, check out Facebook Live, and Ryan's got a very cool step-by-step, I think we even put a PDF back there, but a step-by-step video training on how to start doing Facebook Live to build an audience. And he's just come on the scene real quickly. We love finding new talent. We love finding hungry entrepreneurs who just want to come in here, learn, make an impact, and just really change the world. And I believe that Ryan absolutely falls into that mode. And if you don't believe me, just watch him. He doesn't just talk. He's actually out there building, doing, connecting, grinding, building the business for him and his family. And it's cool. It's cool. And from almost pro baseball player to just full-out rock star entrepreneur, here we are, L5. He is an MLSP certified coach, L5 leader in MLSP. Just a phenomenal, crazy marketer, and building a beautiful, inspiring story that I can't wait to see how this unfolds over the next year, over the next 10, 20 years, because this guy's a young guy. So, Ryan, come on out, sir. The floor is yours. Good morning.
Appreciate it, man. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for all you do, man. You're absolute saint, rock star, man. We love you. Man, we can't express it enough, man. But, Brian touched on so much, and what I want to hit on, guys, is what if you want to learn how to crush any new year. Okay, I'm going to show you how to approach a new year. I'm going to show you how to help your team approach New Year's, maybe your employees, whoever it is. I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to realize what the word resolution means. Okay, because most of us go into the new year and we make these New Year's resolutions, but we don't even really understand what the word resolution means. Okay, the word resolution broken down means to resolve an action. Okay, so we want to look at the actions that took place in the previous year to be able to design the actions that we want to take in the next year. Okay, but what most people don't do is they never actually take the time to look back at the actions that they took over a monthly or weekly or quarterly basis, even a daily basis, to help them design the actions that they're supposed to take in the next year. So I'll take you back to, I think it was 2014, the end of 2014, going into 2015. This was the first time I'd really done an active vision board. So what I did was I did this vision board, and I went out. Instead of going out and partying on New Year's, I stayed in. And I went out and bought a bunch of magazines and printed off a bunch of stuff. I bought this vision board, bought all the materials I needed for it, and that was my December 31st. It was doing my vision board, and I'll never forget it. I was literally ready to quit my job at that point. I was about to quit my job, and the first picture that I put on my vision board said, "Congratulations, you're fired." Guys, the next day I got fired from my job, and I never worked again. So I literally, from that point, I've crushed everything that's on my vision board. Okay? So I want you guys to know that if you're not doing a vision board, and if you're not actively putting these things out there, then you decrease your odds of actually hitting those things. So I want you to know that literally everything that I put on my vision board, I crushed, and it actually helped me to redesign the vision board for the next year, because I was like, no way I should have been able to hit everything on my vision board. I should have missed some things. Okay, so I actually didn't set my standards. I didn't set the bar high enough. So when I went out the next year, going into this year, I set the bar really high. I put a lot of things on that vision board that I probably wasn't going to get in the year, but it was pulling me to those things and helped me reach some tremendous goals in 2016. So, guys, if you've ever said to yourself, man, next year's going to be my year, and then, next year comes around, hey, the year goes by quick, all right? I mean, it may sound cliche, but the year goes by extremely quick. So, for those people that are in Vegas this week, you're at the Tony Robbins event. I had one of my girls call me yesterday, and You know, the year can go by quick. So whenever you go to an event, you know, I told her, take 4 takeaways. Get 4 takeaways, and you take the number 1 takeaway that you get for an event and you attack it for 90 days. Then you go for number 2 in the next 90 days, number 3 in the next 90 days, and guess what? By the time you get to that number 4 takeaway from the major event, you're right back at the event preparing for that event again. So the year goes by quick, but I'm going to show you how to really use the month of December and really the end of November to just launch yourself into a new year, okay? So the first thing you're going to do, I'm going to give you 5 things. You want to write these down. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you want to get really good at setting your intention for everything that you do, all right? You want to start setting the intention. Guys, I've been in MLSP for 2 years. MLSP was the first thing I did when I came online, when I got into a business and I decided to take the business online and start learning online marketing the right way. I got into MLSP, and one of the first things, I was pretty skeptical too. I was like, man, you know, is this going to work? Is this going to be the thing? Is it worth the money? You got all these things rush through my head, and I would have, if you've got to start setting the intention for things to work. A lot of times we don't even realize, but we're setting the intention for things not to work. We're looking for things to be scams. We're looking for things to not work. We're looking for things to go wrong. And you know, it's kind of like if you continue to look for enemies, you're always going to find them. If you look for things that are going wrong in a relationship, they're easy to find. If you're looking for things to go wrong in your business, guess what? You'll find them. So you got to learn how to start setting the intention that whatever you're doing is going to work, and it's going to work so well that you may have to hire other people to help you out. You may have to outsource some things. You've got to start setting the intention with every action that you do, and setting the intention that you're going to launch into a new year, not in 2017, but you're going to start preparing for that launch now. So number 2 is you've got to write down everything that is going to happen. Okay? You've got to start writing down everything that's going to happen and breaking that down from a year. So being in a place where you're just like, you know what, this is what next year at this time, this is what my life looks like. This is what my perfect day is. You've got to start designing those things and write it down on paper. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You cannot write these things down in bullet points. If they mean anything to you, all right, if they mean anything to you, they're worth more than bullet points. Most of us, even if we do write some things down, what do? We just start naming things off, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, and we say, this is what I want, this is what I want. You've got to start giving your goals and the things that are going to happen some depth. You've got to start using your senses. You've got to start using your emotions. You've got to start literally writing this story so your brain can start to put it together as a visual. So your goals and your dreams are worth way more than bullet points, but you've got to write it down. You've got to take the time to do this. A lot of times we get so enamored with time that we're chasing time and we're not controlling time. Control your time and learn how to just take the time to write this stuff down, sit down, go to a quiet room, get away from your kids, get away from the TV, throw it out the window if at all possible, because you don't need it, right? And start to write these things down. Get you a journal, okay? Document these things, all right? And then, along with that, still on number 2, you've got to start telling people, okay? You've got to start telling people. Most people in their warm market, they tell their warm market one time that, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get involved in this. And your warm market, they take it, they've seen you for your entire life, right? So they say, oh yeah, we'll see. So in order to keep you safe, because they love you, they're going to tell you that, no, maybe you shouldn't do that, right? Because they only know the old you. So you've got to start telling your warm market, telling the people that you know, telling the world what is going to happen next year. It's going to start to hold you accountable. And if they don't believe you the first time, keep telling them. Keep reiterating that. A lot of times we just say, oh, well, screw them, my warm market sucks, or, da, da, da. Keep telling them. Guys, my mom didn't believe that this was a good idea for me to embark as a full-time entrepreneur and never go back to work for anybody else again. When I told her that, she told me, hey, that's okay, but you probably shouldn't do that. Maybe you should go apply. Goes on some interviews just to kind of test the waters and see what happens. Guys, I took the opposite advice and I literally deleted every copy of my resume that I could find. So it's not that she didn't believe in me. It's just that she loved me so much she didn't want to see me get hurt. And guys, your warm market loves you, but you've got to tell them. And you've got to sell your story. It doesn't mean that they have to buy your product or service, okay? But you have to sell your story. And that's what's going to hold you accountable. Number 3 is you've got to start reflecting from the future. Okay, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, but you've got to start reflecting from the future. All right, your reflection periods have to be in a place where you're literally in the future, as if you got into a time machine and you're in 2017, December 1st, 2017, December 25th, 2017, and you're reflecting. You're reflecting on Christmas morning when the tree is just full of all the toys that you couldn't afford 2 years ago. When the smiles on your family's face because the dinner was catered on Christmas, or the cars outside literally have bows on them like the commercial, and you've got a brand new Lexus that you tell the kids that Santa brought. Guys, you've got to start using reflection in a more powerful way and stop reflecting on the things that you just don't have right now, but you're reflecting from the future. You've got to start being creative with your reflection and really start just diving in to the future and using the future, because the future has pulling power. Guys, here's the reason that most people don't ever hit their goals. Most people don't ever hit their goals because they never do the math. Okay? Most people don't ever hit their goals because they don't ever do the math. You know, if your goal is to hit 8,000, if your goal is to hit 6 figures, most people say, yeah, I want to hit 6 figures. No one ever sits down to do the math that it takes $8,333 a month to hit 6 figures. But most people will never do the math, and they'll never do the math on what it takes to actually accumulate that $8,333 so they can actually do the actions that it takes to get there. So what you do is you can use the power of reflection to look back at a year or look back 2 years and reflect on all the actions it took to create that $8,333 a month. Number 4 is you've got to understand that launching into something new happens now. There's a pre-launch to it. There's a pre, I'm reading a book right now called Persuasion, and it's cool because he divided it up into persuasion. And one of the cool stories that he talks about is wine stores will actually play different types of music in the store to increase sales for different types of wine. So if a wine owner or wine store owner wants to increase the sales of a German wine, there's studies out there that say if they play German music over the stereo system, they'll actually sell more German wine. The store is kind of setting a prerequisite, or they're setting you up to buy more wine, German wine, right? So you've got to set yourself up. You've got to persuade yourself into the new year, and you've got to do it now, because you don't want to go into the new year standing still and then trying to catch up. You want to launch into the new year, and when you launch, you're going to go so fast that when you finally slow down, that norm will be something that you've never, ever, ever occurred before in your past. Okay? You've got to start using this tool and start launching yourself so far into the future that your past can't catch up. See, most of us are we're doing these little actions, right? We're doing some different actions, and we're getting a different result, right? We're getting a little bit of result, but it's not the result that we really want, right? So we've got to understand that those little actions, they're getting us to the future, but your past can still catch up to you. Your past can still reach out to you. That's why you're not consistent. That's why you stop doing the things. That's why it's easy to quit, right? That's why it's easy to, make an excuse, right? Because you haven't launched so far into your future that your past literally can't touch you anymore. Your past can't reach you anymore. Right? You've got to start going so hard that the other BS, the other person, the old you, can't even see you anymore. Right? And that old you just turns around and can't even come back. All right? So that's number 4. You've got to understand that launching happens now. All right? You do it now. You don't go into January 1st and say, okay, I'm going to start eating better, or okay, I'm going to start blogging right now. No, you set the stuff up now. You do the things now. All right? Now, number 5 is going to be the hitter. All right? So this is something that I kind of went back and forth on, hey, should I share this? Should I, because there's some pretty heavy stuff that I kind of came up with myself, and I've been using this for my one-on-one coaching clients. But I figured, you know what? It's Christmas, and I'll drop another big nugget. So I hope you guys are ready for this one. If you haven't been writing anything down, then at this point, then this is where you want to start writing things down. Okay? This is how I started designing my goals, and I just started sharing this with people. So let's see how it goes. I started designing my goals. I used to write my goals down as, I wanted things, right? I used to say, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I actually went back in my journal and I ripped all that crap out. And I started writing all my goals in a way of saying, okay, I am this, this happened, I did this, like in the past tense or in the present tense, right? So I've done all these things. But then I started taking my goals a step further. Okay, many of you have probably done that before. I did, whatever. Okay, but I want you to stop wanting things, because here's the premise of that. Here's the principle behind that. When you want things, and when your goal is to want it, okay, when your goal is to want it, and then a year later you didn't get it, and you still want it, you got your goal. All right, and this was a big light bulb for me. Was if your goal is to want it, you'll always get your goal, and you'll never actually achieve what you really quote unquote wanted, right? Because you set your goal up to want it. So first thing I want you to do is stop wanting things. Start setting things up as if they've already happened. Start giving gratitude as if they've already happened. And what I want you to do is you start breaking down your goals. Okay, instead of saying, hey, I want to make $8,333 a month. You start saying, okay, what are the actions? You set your goals up based off of the actions that you're going to take. All right? So what you're going to do is you're going to set your goals up based on actions, not on results. Okay? I'm going to completely switch up the game here, and hopefully I know Tony Robbins and Eric Worre probably won't hear this, but if you hear them talk about this, then they got it from me. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to set your goals up based on actions and actions alone. Okay? So instead of saying, hey, I want to hit L5 or I want to hit this diamond rank in my company, instead of saying I want to make $8,333 a month, what you're going to do is you're going to break all your goals down based off the actions. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down every action that you need to take. Phone calls, live videos, podcasts, blog posts, how many text messages I'm going to send out daily on Facebook Messenger, how many courses, books read, events, coaches hired, webinars, date nights, kids events, compliments that I'm going to send out, donations that I'm going to make. Okay? Those are just some actions that you can take throughout the year. Now what you're going to do is you're going to set those actions up. So you're going to write your goal down. So I might say, you know what? Over 2017, I'm going to make 2,000 phone calls. Okay? So I'm setting my goals up based off of action, not off results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, if it's going to take on 2017, I'm going to make 2,000 phone calls. That's 166 phone calls per month, and that's 41 phone calls per week. So now I'm setting my goals up not off the money that I want to make or the people that I want to help. I'm setting my goals up based off of action. So now I'm saying, okay, now, boom, phone calls. My goal is to make 40 phone calls a week. I'm going to divide that by 6 days a week. So I need to make 7 phone calls per day. So if I pick up the phone, this is just based off of just sheer action. Okay, sheer action. If I pick up the phone and dial 7 and just attempt to get on the phone 7 times and do that every single day, 6 days a week, what are the chances I'm going to increase the goals, increase what I did from the previous year? Okay? What are the chances? So now I've set my goal. I've set the bar to do 2,000 phone calls. I'm going to do 312 live videos, 52 podcasts, 100 blog posts. I'm going to text 20 people a day. I've already set the stage that I'm going to buy 20 courses next year. I'm going to read 40 books next year. I'm going to attend 6 events. I'm going to hire 2 new coaches next year. I'm going to do 52 webinars. I'm going to make sure that we take 52 date nights, or at least 50 date nights a year. I'm going to take the kids on 4 vacations next year. I'm already setting that stuff up right now. I'm going to give 1,000 compliments next year. How about that? So then you just divide that stuff, work yourself backwards. And then, I'm going to make 48 donations next year. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to reflect on those things now. You're going to reflect on the emotions that at the end of the year you say, man, I actually made 2,000 phone calls last year. We went on 50 date nights last year. Reflect and watch how your relationship changes. Watch how everything starts to just kind of change in your life. Man, I look back now and I'm like, man, I read 40 books last year. I made 100 donations to charities last year. Literally imagine how you're going to be set up for success if you do this. Most of us want balance in our business, and we don't know how to get out of balance and get so far out of balance that when we slow down, it puts us into balance. So how much action will you take? All right, now you just can't say go out there and say I'm going to make 2,000 phone calls. You have to be a little realistic. If you only made 4 phone calls last year, you have to look back, reflect, and do something that's 10x or 10 times what you did the previous year. So if you made 4 phone calls this year, don't go on there and make your goal 2,000 phone calls. You may want to do 100, right? Or you may want to do 50 or whatever it is. So make sure you use these things. These are 5 things. I know Brian said he's not going to be live. So safe travels to everybody that's either already in Vegas or headed to Vegas. Hope you guys got value from this call today, and I wish you the best and the most gratitude I could possibly give out, and the best vibes that I could possibly give out as you all embark into 2017. So God bless, love you all, and make it happen. All right, I'm out of here, my friends. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you guys got